I hear about this in the news. My sister's a school teacher. She says that there are students, but tell us how big of a problem this actually is. Is this something that's grown? Has it always been this big? We just never talked about it?
No, not at all. It was until very recently, until about 10 years ago, gender dysphoria, which is the intense feeling of discomfort with one's body, with one's sex body, it was extremely rare. And when I went to medical school some, 40 years ago, when I was in med school and did my child psychiatry training, it was so unusual. The cases were so rare that none of us ever expected to see even one person in our entire lifetimes with what was called then gender identity disorder. It was something that you read about in a textbook. That's how rare it was in children.
Yeah.
So yes, it is something very new, and the rates of kids who suddenly proclaim that they are identifying as the opposite sex or some other gender are actually up about 5,000% just in the past 10 years or so.
Wow.
So yes, this is something that is something new in our culture. And the reason why people, parents especially, have to be aware of it is because many of us in the field see it as a social contagion. We used to have 20 years ago, Kim, we had 2 clinics to help these families who have a child with gender dysphoria, 2 clinics in the entire world. One in Toronto, one in the Netherlands, in Holland. Now we have only in this country, in the United States, at least 100. Well, Kim, you see, what I want you to understand is that it's the gender affirming narrative that is saying to these kids that you may be trans, and if you have, they are jumping in at the first possible moment and saying, if you feel X, Y, and Z, you may be trans. Change your name, change your pronouns, see how it feels, go to a gender therapist, wear a binder, tuck your penis in your testicles, and see how that feels for you. The group of kids that are what I mentioned earlier, the 5,000% increase, those, the majority are girls.
Okay, wow.
The majority of them have pre-existing mental health issues.
Yeah.
They have autism, depression, anxiety, ADHD that preceded their new gender identity. So this is a totally new group of people. You know, there are people out there, I'm far from the only one. There's many clinicians speaking up, there's parents speaking up, there's journalists. A lot has been written about this. This is being, as you know, there's 19 states now that have, legislated against medicalization of minors.
بیشتر بدانیم